Hey, it's great to have you back at the SimHanger. My name's Mark, the SimHanger for all things flight sim related. And today we're in the Cessna 208 Bravo Caravan. Now the Caravan is probably one of the larger aircraft that's going to be able to get into and out of the bush strips that we're visiting today. We're going to be departing from Machmell Fisheries and landing in Quatam River. Both are in British Columbia in the backcountry, and both are freeware add-ons for Microsoft Flight Simulator, available from MSFS addons.org. I'll leave links in the notes below. Now you may recall that I've already attempted a landing at Quatam River in Microsoft Flight Simulator's default scenery, and well, it didn't go that well, did it? So we'll try it out now and just see how much of an improvement it is. Our flight plan's a very simple one. We're flying from Machmell Fisheries in a direct line to Quatam River. We are flying IFR in the Caravan, distance of 101 nautical miles. Cruise altitude of 9,000 feet. It's early morning and I've set the weather to scattered clouds. Well, let's get started. Welcome to Machmell Fisheries Airstrip. This is an unregistered airstrip and I'm not sure in the real world if it's still active or maintained and used. It was initially put in place to service fishing research activities to fly personnel in and out. Long runway, but fairly narrow, and with a fishing facility over to the left-hand side. Nice detail of having just a few boats in the water. This is a lovely part of the world, large estuaries and lakes, surrounded by high mountains and hills. Right, it's time to jump into the Cessna Caravan cockpit. Let's just hide the yoke and let's just put some power on. Power is on. We'll now put on the beacon light so that people know the aircraft is active. Let's open the valves for both fuel tanks. And now put the fuel boosts on. We can hear it clacking away. And our avionics 1 on and ignition on. Mixture full and our prop control full. Parking brake is set and on, that's fine. Crank the throttle just a little bit before start. That should be enough. And that's it, we can start her. And engine starting up. We can now put our avionics number 2 on, and the ignition can come off now that engine has started. It is early morning, so let's get some lights on. We'll just turn up these dials, just make it easier to read the instruments. And we're now going to get our pitot heat on and our stall heat on. No snow outside, but it is a little bit chilly. We can now put on our nav and our strobe lights, and our no smoking seat belts and cabin lights are on. We're almost ready for departure, so taxi lights on. My flight plan's already in the Garmin from Machmell direct to Quatam River. And it's telling us it's on a bearing of 120 degrees. We'll set that up just now. Flight director can come on. And now we can set our heading and we can see the blue bug moving, and we want, what was it again, 120. Going the wrong way, there we are, that's 120, that'll do. And now time to set our cruise altitude, which is 9,000 feet from our flight plan, and we dial that in. I've checked the barometric pressure, it's right, 29.92. Although this is not an air traffic controlled or tower controlled airport, we still need to set our transponder. So I'll do that quickly and just set it to on, and I'll put it to out just before takeoff. Quick check that all controls are free and clear. And our final step before taxi is just make sure we're on the right nav settings, CDI, and that's now pointing to 120 degrees as it should. We've now taxied the short distance to the runway. Flaps are at 10 degrees, and let's push that throttle forward. I'm going to hold her on the brakes. Although it's a reasonably long runway, it's not really that long for an aircraft of this type. Here we go. Airspeed's not registering yet. I'm going to need about 75 knots to get off the ground. Airspeed now building. $60 knots, 70, and we're up. Just clearing those trees. Heading towards the valley. I'm manually flying this. I'm not flying it on GPS at the moment. Just coming back on the throttle. Get those throttles out of the red. Easy to damage the engines that way. Terrain in the vicinity is between 5 and 7,500 feet, so maximum climb. Pressing the spacebar while you're flying gives you a slightly elevated view, and I can see where I'm going, and I'm going to head directly down the valley. This will give me a little bit of time to gain more altitude before switching to nav mode and flying on the flight route. I've just moved the heading bug to aim down the valley. I'm going to activate the autopilot and the heading. This will keep me more or less in a straight line whilst I climb through the valley. Just passing 4,400 feet and still high ground on both sides of the aircraft. Maintaining maximum climb. Let's check temperatures and pressures. They're all just in the green, so that's okay. We can carry on with maximum climb, now passing 5,500 feet. What a beautiful and lovely sight that is, with the clouds just topping the mountains. The sun just really starting to rise now. Now coming up towards 8,000 feet, so I can take the heading off. I should be clear of the ground now, and now switch it to nav, and it will swing immediately to intersect the flight plan path. Now heading directly for the flight planned route, and we can expect to swing to the left again to bring us directly on track. And we're almost at cruise altitude of 9,000 feet. Now leveling off, we're at cruise altitude and starting to gain airspeed. Nav mode now turning us directly on track towards Quatam River. Microsoft announced some time ago that VR is coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Flying in virtual reality is something I very much look forward to. The release is to be coordinated with the release of the HP Reverb Next Gen or G2 headset. Hewlett Packard have recently announced that it will be shipping to retailers mid to late October, with distribution starting from late October into early to mid-November. For VR enthusiasts, this means that Microsoft Flight Simulator will have VR in the very near future, certainly within the next 6 to 7 weeks, and I suspect a little earlier than that. VR in Microsoft Flight Simulator will not be restricted just to the HP Reverb G2, but should be compatible with all Windows mixed reality headsets. No update on Oculus compatibility at this point. The HP Reverb with its 2160 by 2160 resolution has been very popular with early reviewers. HP have also recently announced that the G2 will come out with improved lenses. It has already received rave reviews for its clarity and resolution. So with these improved lenses, it's going to be interesting to see what further improvements they've brought to VR enthusiasts. It'll also be interesting to see what sort of performance we can get with the graphics within Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm currently running a 2080 Ti and I've got most of my settings on Ultra. I'll show my settings at the end of this video for anybody who's interested. The horsepower required to run Microsoft Flight Simulator was lower than many of us expected it to be or feared. Hopefully that's going to be the case with VR as well. Let's just hope you don't need the new 3090 from Nvidia in order to run it. The latest series of Nvidia cards are due to be released imminently. They're just hitting the market, should be in the UK within the next week or so. And for anybody interested in upgrading their graphics card, the 3070 coming in at about £500 is certainly something to look for, especially as it offers the same performance levels, if not a little better, than my £1,000 2080 Ti. Clocking in at about the £800 mark will be the Nvidia RTX 3080, and this offers performance, it would appear, to be about 20 to 25% above the 3070 and the 2080 Ti, and should really open the gates for 4K gaming with settings on high if not on ultra. I suspect the 3080 is going to be a popular card in the market. Due to the mountainous terrain, I'm not able to descend, so I'm going to follow the path here down the river, loop round, and then head into Quatam River that way. I'm not going to be jumping in and buying a RTX 3080 off the bat. I'm going to see what different variants come out over the next few weeks or months and then make a decision. Well, we're coming over the water now, so time to plan our descent. Pulling back on the throttle, pushing the mixture forward, and I'm now going to disengage the nav mode, and I'm also going to take off the flight director and the autopilot, and we'll hand fly this down to Quatam River. We've just flown over Stewart Island airstrip. It's a small tarmac strip, but there is fuel available there, and it is a registered airport. Pushing my nose down, but just watching my airspeed as it's slowly but surely climbing. Just tapping back on the throttle, just to control the airspeed as I descend. I'm now looping round a slow gradual arc to do an approach up the river for Quatam River Airstrip. I've just dropped below 6,000 feet, so still quite some way to go. I'm going to be turning and heading up the river for an approach to Charlie Quebec Romeo Alpha, Quatam River. I need to get my airspeed down, landing lights on. Flaps to second notch, 10 degrees. Speed starting to wash off now, 120 knots and slowing. I'm still a little high. Airspeed starting to come down nicely, so full flap. Proper mixture of full forward, flaps are full down, landing lights are on. Airspeed is now under control. I'll be looking for about 70-75 knots for the approach. Quatam River is on my immediate right. Now turning in towards the airport. Height is just over 500 feet. Speed is 82 knots and slowly starting to wash off. And at last I have a visual on Quatam River Airport. That certainly does look a little narrow, particularly a little further up. I hope there's going to be room for the Cessna Caravan. Need to make a correction, I'm a little bit too far to the left here. That looks like bears at the beginning of the runway. We'll go and have a look after we've landed. Straighten up, hold her, let the speed wash off. I am going a little faster than I wanted to. I'm down. I'm not going to put the props into reverse. I'm just going to use the brakes, slow down. I don't want to slew anywhere. There we are, we're down. I may have trimmed just a few branches with the wings. We're just going to taxi back and park near the main buildings, and then let's go have a look at those bears. Welcome to Quatam River Airport. Although it's freeware, quite a lot of detail has been added to this airport. Various cars, buildings, aeroplanes, and other paraphernalia strewn as one would expect it to be at an airport such as this. I'm not the only caravan here, obviously. Now let's go and have a look at those bears. The detail and animation is quite amazing. Well done, Microsoft and Acerbo. Well, both Machmell and Quatam River have been really well produced. In addition to being freeware, there's great attention to detail, creating the right sort of ambience at these airports for what you would expect for a backcountry dirt strip in British Columbia. And I must say, British Columbia is one of my favourite areas to fly in. What are your favourite areas that you would like to fly in, or areas you would like to see me doing other videos in? Please leave your comments in the notes below. I'd love to know. Thank you very much for joining me. Hope you found this interesting and entertaining. See you again soon, and bye for now.